when you want to do something a little more interesting with the lighting, you can add a panning effect with lighting using your gradient and using the gradient transform tool. And this can look really nice when you put it together. Only problem is if you have something like I had the stars in the sky, because of the gradient having to be in the foreground, your stars get all dingy looking. So I decided, well, I'll just get rid of the stars in the sky. Either that, or you put the stars in front and then the trees go behind the stars, and that's, you never want the trees going behind the stars. If you don't have anything that extends into the sky and you have this panning going on and you do have the lighting, it shouldn't be a problem at all. But if you do have something that's important in the sky that you don't want to get dingy, you really can't do it. You have to move something. So, but this is what I've got working right now. So I'll show you how I did that. First of all, here's the scene as you saw. This is on the desktop or on the stage itself, on the scene, and you can see that the lighting is actually because you have a gradient that is a radial gradient that is on top. And you can see how it just only covers the section of the stage that is visible once you have gone ahead and made your published movie. So that is one thing to keep in mind, that you don't need to put it all over the place. But let's go into this symbol, and you can see I've got it. It's called spot. It is, once again, when you're doing a radial gradient with a transform on it, you want to make it move, you want to use a shape tween. So you see it's got the green line, and these of course all were the classic tweens, so that you could use the beginning keyframe and the end keyframe. That way you can control exactly which things are moving a little bit more. So let's go ahead and just drop this right now to begin with until we are going to put in a new one, and of course it's not going to look exactly the same. I'm going to lock everything else so that nothing happens to it. And I will add a new layer right here, okay, and I'm going to draw a box on here, and we'll go ahead and just, let's reset these so that they're the defaults. So I'm going to get a color that's kind of a sort of a, well, it doesn't even matter what color it is, because I'm going to go ahead and turn it into a gradient as soon as I can. But here we're going to take the rectangle tool, and we will draw a box that covers the whole stage. Now, my stage itself is 640 by 480, but I did use that panning effect, so I know that the largest or the smallest piece that I have on there is 720 wide. And so I'll go ahead and I will select this. First I will double click on the line to select it, and then I will delete that so there's no longer a stroke on the outside. I will select the fill, and I'm going to go ahead and use the align tool and the info. I'm going to set this for 720 wide, and I'm going to make it 480 high. Okay, and now I know if I make the X and the Y 0, I shouldn't have a problem with that. So there we go, because the X and the Y are the corner, of course, right here. And as long as that's 0, we know that it's right there in the corner and it won't move. And I'm going to go down here and I'm going to call this spot. So I know it's a spotlight. Okay, now I'm going to select it. I'm going to get a gradient. So I'll go down here and I want to make sure it's a radial gradient. And now I'm going to get my gradient transform tool. And I'm going to zoom out so I can see the whole thing. So I'm going to go down to 50%. And in the beginning, I want the spotlight to be centered over here. I want it to be rather widened out and sort of flattened. There we go. I think that's what I want. Now this is a completely opaque, and we don't want it to be completely opaque. So we're going to go into our color, and we want to make sure we have enough colors to make it interesting. So I'm going to put in another stop there, and I'm going to make the first stop alpha of 0. And I want it to be a more or less warmish color, so I'm going to put it up to the yellowish there. But then this one, I want this one to be an alpha of, say, 30%. You can always go ahead and adjust these, change them if you want to. And this is okay for a color, but I think I want a little bit more saturation right there. Maybe bluish. I want it to be a cold night, so I'll get a little cold color there. And then over here, I'm going to go for an alpha of 50. And once again, I want it to be more or less a cold color, but I want it to be dark, so bring it over here. Very dark, but it's a cold color. Okay, so this is my gradient so far, and I can go ahead and go back to 100% so I can see what I'm doing here a little bit better. So this is my gradient so far, and if you deselect it, that's where it is. And then come down to the last frame of the animation, and I'm going to F6, and that will create, of course, a duplicate of the first one. I will get my radial transform, gradient transform tool, and I will move this just a little bit there, and maybe rotate it a little bit here, just to make it a little more interesting. And then I'm going to come in the middle, right click, create shape tween. Okay, and we'll see how that looks. That looks kind of nice. There's a dark spot in the middle. So I'm going to have to check out that dark spot in the middle. Why is there a dark spot in the middle? And let's see. Okay. Dark spot in the middle. So that should be bright, yes. This one, that's getting darker. Let's make it a little bit lighter here. Maybe that'll help. Okay, and that's 30%. Maybe a little bit more there. Okay. So this here, we'll make that one blue as well. Maybe that'll help. Maybe it's the transition between tones. And that one's going to be completely white though, so the brightness is 100. But as it goes through here, so there's that, and down to there. Okay, so hue of 192 and hue of 0. Well, it's gone back to being a hue of 0. I don't want it to be a hue of 0. I want it to be a hue of 194. Sounds good. Okay. And now, let's come to here. And let's make this a hue of 194. Good. This one a hue of 192. Good. And this one a hue of 206. Okay, that's good. I don't know what else we can do to make it different. And let's see how that one looks. So come back to the beginning and turn it to loop. If you select all of them, it should do all of them. Let's see. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty nice. Okay, so we'll stop that and go out to scene 1. And let's command return. Looks real good. And command S. And that's how you would make your lighting a little more interesting.